These are exactly what they were when I was a kid. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our bubble. My name is Katie, and I'm so glad to have you here with me today. It is a beautiful day here in Kentucky. It's a beautiful morning. It's around 8 o'clock in the morning. We got rain last night. We're supposed to be getting more rain today, and it's supposed to be around 85 degrees. So that's why we're already out here. So this morning, I want to take you through the garden again because so many things have grown and I've got new things blooming and there are things to pick. It's just really exciting and things are coming along nicely. The garden actually looks pretty good. So considering all the rain we've gotten, I'm not disappointed. I've managed to keep the weeds down pretty well. Good work out there. And our tomatoes are in desperate need of being tied up and supported. Like I said, with all the rain we've been getting, some of them are laying on the ground and I don't want them to root on the ground. And then we're going to move some tomatoes that have just popped up in various places through the garden. So let's get at it. So first off in the garden is our little patch of radishes. These radishes were a pack of seeds that were, I don't know, 3 years old. And I just thought I'd throw them in the ground and see what they would do. And they have done a little bit. Oh, yeah. They're about past their prime. They are starting to bloom. But it looks like we have a couple here. So that would be, I already picked one, but it'd be great just to, I love throwing them in a stir fry. They add extra crunch. They don't really taste like a whole lot in the stir fry. We discovered this last year because we actually got quite a few last year and I was trying to figure out ways to eat them. Something else that we've got is I had a onion sprout in the house. So I have put it in the ground and I did this for the sole purpose of trying to get seed from it. It is a red onion. We'll just see as the year progresses. So far, so good. It has grown quite a bit, actually. Next up is our potatoes. And our potatoes are looking better. I have had a flea beetle problem. If you watched previous videos, that's what all the tiny holes are in the leaves. And I have not been able to keep pesticide, diatomaceous earth, or I even tried soapy water. That worked actually pretty well, just spraying it on the plant. But we've been getting so much rain that it's hard to keep anything on the plants. Some of them not looking so great, but that's okay. That's just what happens, right? Next is we've got our yellow squash, and they are doing well for the most part. This one, not so much, just because it's being shaded by our radish plants a little bit. This is one radish. They put off this just beautiful, dainty little flower. And the reason I let two of them go, this is two, is because I want the seed pod. I have cilantro here, and the cilantro was seriously a seed pack that was probably 5 years old. Pick that off. That's where it's trying to bloom. And we had a pumpkin plant pop up in the middle of them. But once again, this was a seed pack that I just threw in the ground to see what it would do. I have picked on this cilantro twice already, 2 big handfuls. So it's doing fantastic. Ooh, smells good too, where I just picked some. Our sweet potatoes are doing fantastic. So they're doing really well. In case you don't know, sweet potatoes, you do not plant the whole potato. You actually let this part, the vine, grow out of the potato and snip them off and then plant that. and they're doing fantastic. Another seed pack that I had had for years and decided to see if they would grow are poppies. And I was a little concerned. They didn't pop up forever. I'll get that later. But now I've got a little bloom and another little bloom. So what we'll do is I will actually collect the seeds from these as well for next year. This is really exciting. I love poppies. Now, we have some basil going. There are 4 plants. This plant is looking fantastic. I have picked on it a couple of times so that it will spread. And then the other ones, they're doing fine as well. I purchased them not too long ago, so they're doing okay. Our tomatoes are doing great. Got marigolds. Wow. Just blooming. Ooh. There's that marigold. Nice orange. Oh, but here's our tomatoes. And see, this one has fallen. And so have those. So is that one. So we're going to go along and we're going to clean up the bottoms of them and we're going to get them tied up. This is my sweet pea. And sweet pea came all the way from New Jersey. We vacationed and my sister-in-law sent me home with some little sweet pea tomatoes. They're not even, they're about the size of my pinky fingernail. They're the size of a pea. And this, I crushed some of the tomatoes and dried and saved the seeds. And I had a lot of plants going, and there was an accident with my little greenhouse. And this is the only surviving sweet pea. So she has been very much babied. We have our sweet potatoes that I planted. But then we also have several tomatoes. Like I said, some compost was thrown in here. And we also have another pumpkin plant, which is good because we actually eat quite a bit of pumpkin to feed the dog. Now, look at these. They are great big. And these tomato plants, and I did not start these in the house. They came up all by themselves out here. And so these are a couple that we're going to get moved today. And we had some potatoes that I obviously did not dig up from last year. Last year, this whole bed had potatoes in it. Strawberries are looking good, doing better. I am getting a few strawberries out of them when pests aren't stomping on them. Excuse me, Kevin. Moving right along. Our cucumbers are looking great. Before you know it, you won't even see the structure that I built. And then, oh, I didn't even realize we were this close. These are our beans. I do grow a particular type of bean. This is called a Maxi Bell. And originally I ordered them from Johnny's Seed Company. But for the last 2 years, the last beans have been left so that I can collect the seed out of them. Oh, this is one of the best tasting green beans I have ever had. They are a bush bean. There is no spine. Now, they are thinner. They'll get bigger than this one, at least twice the size. So they're fabulous for one of the first beans that we cook up. We saute, and once we're ready, I will show you all how to do it. It's super easy, super delicious. They're even good cold. This green bean is, I can them as well. We love them. After having this bean, I never went back to any other bean. Breakfast. Even though the bushes aren't very big yet, they will quadruple in size. But look, I'm already getting a whole bunch of beans. You know what? I'm going to eat that one too. Now, next on the list is the beets. The beets, I have never had this good luck with beets. I'm going to tell you, if you're new to gardening, just because something does wonderful one year does not mean it's going to do wonderful the next year, and vice versa. Last year, we only got a few beets. They were tiny. But this year, I've really been working on separating them, and look at that. That's beautiful. And so soon, in the next few days, we're going to pick what we can, and we're going to get them canned up. I've also got zucchini going over here. The zucchinis have been staked so that they can be tied up. And we're going to try and do them vertically this year. And then don't forget the new stuff we planted. For those of you who didn't watch the other video, down the fence row here was all of our peas. We had 2 pounds of peas, 1 pound on each side. Here in Kentucky, peas are a fairly early crop. I do plant them close to Valentine's Day, as well as the beets. They are planted around Valentine's Day as well. Oh, but our new plants are doing well. We planted cantaloupe, moved a couple of marigolds, and they've bounced back just great. This is butternut squash, which I'm pretty excited about. We haven't grown butternut squash before either. And then our pumpkin is doing really well as well. Another fruit that we decided to grow this year is watermelon. And they're coming up. I'm going to have them go up the fence here. We are not in the garden. We are very much outside the garden. There's the garden. Oh, we've also got more over here, and these are looking even better. So I have higher hopes for these. I did put a tomato cage on them because tomato cages are kind of worthless on tomatoes, but it will keep me. I almost forgot about them, and I almost mowed them down. Something else new that I started this year is red raspberries. There, once again, got a cage so that they don't accidentally get mowed down. One here, and this one. There were a couple more. Unfortunately, they did not make it. But we can always start more off of these 3 plants. They'll send up new shoots. And they're really looking good. I'm really glad. The asparagus bed is right behind it. Yes, the asparagus is a crazy jungle. This asparagus bed is around 10 years old or older. It needs a good clean out, and we may do that this year. If I have to dig up the asparagus, that means I cannot pick on it for a couple of years. So I'm debating on what to do as far as that's concerned. If you all have any ideas, I would love to hear them. And then our mullein plant. It's getting ready to bloom. This will bust out in little yellow blooms. It is a fuzzy plant. For those who don't know, mullein is a type of, well, most people drink it as a tea. You can dry the young leaves and drink it as a tea, and it is really good for respiratory health. There was something that was extremely popular during COVID to help clear the funk out of your chest. So it is a biannual. it grows wild here just on the side of the road. So I feel honored that one decided to grow in our flower bed. But I'm hoping if when it goes to seed that I can collect seed from it, and then if it comes back next year, I can pick on it even more. Now we're going to get our tomatoes tied up and strip all the lower limbs off. Now, what I'm doing is I am weaving through the tomato plants. These poor tomato plants, this one's, it's not broken, but it's definitely gotten damaged. I'm just hoping that it'll be okay because it's not completely broke off. We're just going to leave it for now. But I waited too long to give these support. But that's what happens. Life happens. We're going to make sure we support that top part really well. Now, I went to the back side of this tomato plant. So the next tomato plant, I'm going to go to the front side. Wow. Wow, that looks a lot better. And it sure makes me feel better. So we went on and took the yarn up our poles further. So as the tomatoes get bigger, we can weave them in. This just looks great. But now we're going to go dig up some of our rogue tomatoes and plant them over where the garlic used to be. Even though the ground is plenty wet enough, I could probably just pull this little tomato up. I am going to use my Hori knife. These are great. If you have a garden, you should probably get one. I'll see if I can find a link to put below. It's got measurements on it, and it's got a really sharp serrated side. It's a really good tool. Look at that, roots and all. And it's starting to rain. We're going to finish this up really quick. And then we're going to head into the kitchen because it's strawberry season, boys and girls. We need to make something with some strawberries. Now that we're in the kitchen, we're going to start making one of my favorite desserts. We're going to make pavlova. And pavlova basically is a meringue cookie topped with your favorite berries or fruit. Of course, we're using strawberries. This recipe actually goes really quickly and it's long all at the same time. The meringue cookies are really quick to make the meringue, but they do have to sit in the oven for hours. I did have to call my mother on this one. I had not made these in a long time, and she said that her mother would actually make them the night before and let them sit in the oven overnight. They do have to cook at a very low temperature, around between 200 and 250 degrees. I've got our oven on 225, and they will cook at that temperature for an hour. And then we will shut our oven off and we will leave them in the oven for a couple of more hours while the oven actually cools down. So more or less you are dehydrating them, but these used to be one of my favorite treats as a kid that my mom would make, so I thought that I would share it with you. We're going to use 3 eggs and a half a cup of sugar with about a quarter of a teaspoon of cream of tartar and a little bit of cornstarch, about another quarter teaspoon. We are adding the cornstarch. It's not something that's normally necessary, but it is so humid that we need something to help pull the moisture out of the cookie. So let's get started. Now you want to use 3 egg whites, which I already have in our bowl. You want to make sure no yolk gets in this at all, only the white. And we're going to use our whisk attachment. Now we are going to go on and add our cream of tartar, quarter of a teaspoon. What the cream of tartar does is it adds acidity to your egg whites, which helps the egg whites bind together. They want to hug each other. And that's what helps make your egg whites fluffy, but it helps them stay fluffy so they don't fall. And we want to mix this at a fairly high speed and make sure that our egg whites get good and fluffy before we add anything else to them. In the meantime, we are going to add our cornstarch to our half a cup of sugar. Get a quarter of a teaspoon of cornstarch. And we're going to mix that around in our sugar so it gets distributed throughout. Now, if you've noticed, our eggs have gotten fluffier just with me talking and dealing with our sugar. So now what we want to do is we want to add our sugar and our cornstarch mixture about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon at a time. You don't want to add it all at once. And if you watch our egg whites, they'll get thicker and whiter. This recipe is no different than the meringue you would put on a pie. If you've ever made a cream pie and put meringue on top of it and your meringue did not stay nice and tall and fluffy, it may be because you did not add the cream of tartar. It could just be that the air was too moist that day. So that's kind of what we're fighting today. Okay, all of our sugar has been incorporated, and I'm going to let it go just a little bit longer. We want that sugar to break down because we don't want our meringue cookie to be gritty. Okay, I think we're good to go. It looks shiny, and that's what we want. Nice. Look at that. That's beautiful. If you were cooking this to sell to someone to test to see if your sugar is broke down enough, you could actually just take a little bit and rub it between your fingers. There's a couple granules, but actually that's not too bad. Or you can taste it. That's good. We'll leave it there. And we're going to take our meringue and we're going to form a little bowl. You do want to use the inside of a brown paper bag is the preferred method, but you can also use parchment paper. I think the brown paper bag helps pull more moisture out of your egg whites. And that is very important. If you do not get enough moisture out of them, they will stay soft and squishy like the meringue on a pie. I'll make another little one. These don't expand or anything, so they can actually be fairly close together. It will not make a difference. Now, we're going to place them in the oven for an hour. And then after an hour, we're going to come in and we're going to shut our heat off and wait until our oven has completely cooled down. Now, it is important that you do not look in the oven. I know you will be tempted to, but give it 2 hours after your initial hour of cooking time before you take a peek in the oven. After we've put our meringues in the oven, we're going to give our strawberries a good wash. Because we're going to go on and get them cut up and prepped and ready to go for when our meringues are ready. So after I've washed my strawberries, we're going to use about 10 of these, and we're going to cut them up. Then we're going to sprinkle sugar all over them and just let them sit in the refrigerator until we're ready for them. The sugars on the strawberries will help bring out some of the juiciness of the strawberry for us. Just gonna cut our tops off, and then we're just gonna cut them in whatever size pieces that you like. If you like bigger pieces, fine. If you like smaller pieces, fine. I don't normally suggest to keep them whole because we want them to juice out. Now that our strawberries are cut up, we're going to add a couple of tablespoons of sugar just right over the top of them. Great. Just kind of stir that around a little bit, and we're going to put our lid on it, and then we're just going to let them sit in the refrigerator until our meringues are ready. Okay, so it's been 3 hours. Our meringues cooked for an hour, and then they have sat in the oven for 2 hours. And I kept coming in and kind of feeling the oven to see if it was any cooler, but didn't dare open it now. So, but they turned out nice. Not too bad at all. Yeah, they just peel right off the brown paper bag. And then we're going to grab a plate. And then what we're going to do with these is we are actually going to put them in a container with a silica pack. I guess I should say I did Google how to cook these on a rainy day. And thank you, King Arthur flour. Because my mother told me that they wouldn't turn out today, but they did. So now we both know. But King Arthur also suggested that you put them in a container with something that would help absorb any extra moisture that might be in them or that they kind of create on their own. The sugar absorbs moisture out of the air all by itself. If you ever have a bag of brown sugar and you've opened it up and there's like big clumps in it, that's where it has absorbed the moisture out of the air. Oh, these look beautiful. We're just going to throw one of these in the corner. And then my container has a gasket on it. Now, we need our strawberries. Strawberries are good for you, of course. They're red, so that tells us that they are full of antioxidants. They also have fiber, and strawberries are high in folate, which is good to help with fetal development. So if you know somebody that's pregnant, feed them strawberries. It's good for that baby. So that looks pretty good. And then I think beautiful. Let's give it a try to make sure. Now, when you're making these meringues, you are welcome to add any kind of flavoring, vanilla, almond, any kind of extract like that you might want. I like them all by themselves. These are exactly what they were when I was a kid. Thanks, Mom. I hope that you guys are able to make them and enjoy them as much as I am. Thank you again for hanging out with me, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.